Yeah.
Okay. So one thing that my opponent's been bringing up constantly throughout this entire debate is the idea, or the statistic that she brings up, which is that prostitutes, it's some statistic about how they feel poor about them, or they don't want to be in the profession, or how the legalization of it has been making it worse on them. But what's interesting about this is just recently, within I think it was the past 6 years for Germany, it was legalized. And the statistic that she brought up was something that happened. It was not super current, up to date. And the problem with this is, hold on one second. The problem with this is that we don't have any prior knowledge to go off of. So she's bringing up one statistic that she keeps bringing up over and over again, which is 62%, how they feel poor about themselves. Now the thing about this is, maybe because prostitution is legalized now, that these prostitutes are now willing to come up and speak to the police and society to be part of these statistics. So she pulls out a statistic which is 62%, which is huge, but she doesn't have anything prior to that. So for all we know, there was no statistic done prior to that, so it could be 90% decreasing down to 62% because it's legalized. Another thing that she brings up constantly is that, one thing was that the negative idea that families have about prostitution, and the reason because of that is because prostitution is illegal. So if we made it a legitimate business, the negative ideas that so many people hold against prostitution would help to diminish it, because it's actually considered a legalized and legit business. Another thing is, we keep talking about the affirmative side, me and Blake also talked about condom usage, but our opponents kept bringing up the idea that the condom usage was a mandatory act, which in actuality is not. It was something that was encouraged by the government to use. So the idea that they don't know that that wasn't a recommended thing is a little bit worrying, because they don't really have the knowledge or the idea or the information based off of that. And even if, and since it is recommended to use, and that and she says that men are always persuading women to not use the condom, that doesn't get rid of the idea that more men are using the condom. That doesn't get rid of the idea that more men are using condoms. So even if a few are persuading the women to not use condoms, that doesn't get rid of the idea that some other men are still using, which does help reduce the STIs outbreak that does happen within prostitution. And to back this up, legally sanctioned encouragement of prostitutes to use condoms or access screening for both major detriments of the prevalence of sexually transmitted diseases. And that was from the head of Human Rights and Biotechnics units of the Department of Epidemiology and Prevention Medicine at Monza University. So our affirmative side is that we want to make it legalized and a legalized business, because the way it is currently now, that they're under a lot of, they're seen as an illegitimate business, which they currently are, of course, because it's considered illegal, but it does shine a very negative light on the people who are prostitutes. It does, like how they're saying, make families talk about prostitutes as though it's something horrendous, and how all prostitutes are just destitute for failure, and they're the plight of immortality. They're the plight of mortality, but that doesn't really, with the legalization of that, it helps get rid of the stigma that is associated with prostitution. And they also kind of ignore the fact that if you do legalize it, it would help us control. They talked a little bit on it, but